This is ESPN Esports. I'm Arda Ocal. Happy to be joined by Wardell, TSM, now known by many people as the best Valorant team in the entire world. Certainly proved that in the latest T1 VALORANT Showdown as part of the Ignition series, taking home first prize against T1 in the finals. How does that sound to you, Wardell? Now, many people are considering you, if not the best team in the world, at least in North America. How does that sound to you?
Well, I don't really care about what people think about that. To be honest, if they think that we're the best, then let them think that. To be honest, I don't want to add any unnecessary pressure on myself by thinking that myself, because it's all a mental game when you go and compete, and I don't need to have that when we start losing a little bit and start choking a little bit. That's what happens. So, yeah.
Pretty modest answer. That's interesting. But this weekend was a very dominant performance. One thing that we noticed was, especially on Ascent, no Sage from TSM. One of the only teams to do this. Take me through that. When did you guys start game planning that? When did you think that Sage wasn't necessary on Ascent?
So we didn't think. Basically, some people that played Sage don't want to play Sage anymore. They want to play some champions that are more fun. So that's why we made the change. To be honest, you don't need to play certain agents. It's just meta. You need to play what you're comfortable with, and then as long as you're good with it, then I think it's fine. To be honest,
So
people thinking that Sage is necessary. It's not very true, to be honest.
Well, I was going to say, most people would say that Sage is an essential part of a comp, especially on other maps. But so that the genesis of that really just was they didn't want to play Sage, so there's no Sage?
Yeah, pretty much. Sage is such a boring champion. All you do is heal, slow, wall, res, ain't nobody want to do that anymore. So we just switch it up. It's fine with me.
Speaking of boring, there's also conversation online about the 2-op meta being boring. What do you think about that? Being the resident op expert in Valorant right now.
Oh, how it's not balanced and all that.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I feel like it's just people that don't know how to play around ops. I'm pretty sure. I think that the CS:GO op is way more broken than the Valorant op, because you can do so many things with it. You can quick scope, you can no scope. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they just don't know how to play around it. That's why they're complaining and need it to be nerfed. They say there are not enough abilities. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's true at all. I think there's enough abilities. You just have to play around it properly, and you just got to take the info given to you and use it properly.
A lot of people want the op to. It's funny. I interviewed Tailored, your coach, on Monday, and he said people want the op to be nerfed, but they really want Wardell to be nerfed because he's so good on the op. Do you think the op is in line for a nerf, though, based on how successful it's been used?
Not really. I feel if it is nerfed, then it's what's the point of even having it? I feel it's it's really hard to retake because of the how you scope in. And usually this game is played off retakes. It's much easier to retake, so that's why there's a lot of retaking going on. If you even nerf it even more, then what's the point of retaking with the op? It's just pretty useless. It's really hard to retake it at the beginning. I mean, at the retake, when we're retaking anyway. So it's there's no point of nerfing it.
Let's talk about many people have TSM atop their standings right now, or power rankings. Let's talk about some of the other teams. You guys played T1 twice, also in the tournament. FaZe Clan, maybe not in their final form. Teams like Gen G, Immortals, all the big North American franchises a part of this tournament. What did you notice from the other teams? Which teams impressed you? How would you rank them underneath TSM right now?
I wouldn't rank them underneath, but I'd rank T1 really high up there, along with us. You know what I'm saying? FaZe Clan showed a really good performance that tournament. Immortals is pretty good, I'd say. They almost beat T1. 100 Thieves, they still need some work to do. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, Hiko had a great tournament, but it definitely was the first time that they played with that Team High Ground PUBG squad. So I guess we'll see what happens there. But back to you now. What about there was a tweet that one of the G2 players, Pith, tweeted out while watching the T1 tournament. Basically, now we're starting to get these comparisons of different regions, right? And he tweeted, "I'm watching the T1 tournament to analyze how the NA teams play And honestly, some things are innovative and good, but in general, I'm not that impressed with all the plays and decisions. Which there was a way to get to watch demos of other matches. What do you make of, I guess, this sentiment that, of comparing the different regions? What is your take on that?
I feel like EU. I haven't really watched the EU scene, to be honest, but I feel like a lot of EU players are still on CS:GO, so it's like I don't feel like there's much competition there since all the good players that are playing are still in CS:GO. But but I feel like he's sort of right in comparison. Like sometimes it does get a little sticky, you know what I'm saying? Because this is just like inexperienced people just trying to play and experiment, and then they're under pressure and all that. So then it's definitely going to be some like sticky plays, you know what I mean, and all that.
Is there anyone in like maybe streaming or even other tournaments? I know Japan had a big tournament this past weekend. Anything that you've watched outside of North America at all or noticed?
I watched some of the Japan games, and I actually took something off of them. So yeah, the team that like won everything, they didn't lose a single map.
Yeah. What did you notice about their play style? Was there anything different there that you found interesting?
They used a combination of the shorty and the classic really well, and they used it to damage the economy of the enemy team, and then eventually it break the economy and then turn the tides into their favor.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like these little nuances as the game goes on, right? Like I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, like the game in 6 months is gonna almost look dramatically different.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like increased in agents. I know we're gonna get 6 a year now, but like just the compositions and the meta will be forming 6 months from now than even where we are today. What do you think about 6 agents a year?
A year, I feel like it's gonna be really good because everyone likes fresh things. Everyone likes new things. Everyone likes to like. Everyone doesn't want to like stay with the old. They want to come in with the new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's gonna be really good. So, so for me, I don't like to like play the same thing every time. I like to keep things fresh, and I think 6 agents is just enough, to be honest.
Every year. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you so let me ask you about that more generally. I was thinking about how so many players are coming from different titles, right? I mean, you had a career in CS:GO, now you're playing Valorant and you're grinding this game. It's still relatively new. Obviously you were there in the early stages of the game, but we're still in a relatively new scene, right? So like compare grinding Valorant and how much you actually enjoy the game on a personal level to grinding CS:GO. Like how do you compare your passion and interest in Valorant compared to at any point in playing in your CS:GO career?
I feel like it's the same. Like always trying to get better, always trying to improve, and always trying to become the best that you can be. So for me, I would always just like, keep on grinding hard in CS:GO. So then I grind hard in Valorant. Same thing.
Yeah. And do you enjoy I know that you were mentioning on stream, this is my life now. This is what I play, like this is what I put my heart into. Do you have that does the passion feel similar to when you were first grinding CS:GO? Like do you feel like you're really passionate here and this is like something you're really jazzed up about?
Oh yeah, for sure. I really do like this game, and yeah, so
Okay. Well, last question for you about TSM. Like, it feels like TSM is really one of the few complete teams out there, and obviously success speaks for itself, right? But when we look at like, I think a lot of people make the mistake of just looking at someone's combat score or KDA and judging players based on that, right? Like, talk to me about your teammates a little bit, like, and their specific, contributions to the team, especially this past tournament, and how well you guys gelled as a unit.
So basically, our team is like perfect. We have the right amount of like passive players and the right amount of aggressive players, and usually we have Hazed and Cutler, which are more like supportive roles that like will fill in the spots that we are not going to. They'll always like offer up guns and stuff, all that to us, so that we can be the best that we can be. So basically, like what I'm saying is like you guys see me, Drone, Sabrosa, like always at the top, but like it's those two that like give us the ability to be at the top. So Drone would be like the aggressive guy, and Sabrosa would also be the aggressive guy. And for me, I can do like both, but usually I like to be more aggressive than passive.
Mm-hmm.
So like with that mixed together, then I feel like we have the perfect combination.
All right. Well, Wardell joining us here on ESPN Esports. I love your background, by the way. I love the shoe collection. You're a big Jordan guy. I can tell.
Yeah.
Did you watch The Last Dance?
Yeah, that was fire. That was
Yeah,
good.
you liked it?
Yeah.
This is crazy. The whole Jordan. What is your favorite pair back there? Are those the cements there on the second?
Yeah, the black cement threes. Yeah.
Nice. Those are.
I
Those are
like
tight.
the Bread 11s or the Space Jams. To be honest, I like
Ooh.
the 11s. Yeah.
Yeah, the Space Jam's fire. Absolute fire. Well,
Yeah.
Wardell's been fire in Valorant so far. TSM riding high. Many people consider them to be the best team in the world in Valorant right now. Wardell joining us here on ESPN Esports. Thanks for your time, bud.
Thank you.